What's going on, y'all? Quick show today. Just a couple of topics to get into before we go ahead and get into it. Go ahead and give me my theme music. Said, all right, like I said, just a couple of topics for today's little special, special kind of preview, special not preview, but special episode, obviously because I'm by myself. But we're only going to get into a couple of things. The first is just the AFC rankings. Second would be NFC rankings, and then we're gonna give I'm gonna give a quick preview of Bears versus the Commanders that is coming on tonight. So first off with the AFC, I'm just gonna do my top five teams out of the AFC just because we can't say exactly 25% of the way through the season because there's 17 games, so that kind of changed the whole percentage up. But basically a quarter of the way through the season to go. I just wanted to give a quick update of where I have everybody. Well, not everybody, but where I have the top five teams so far. So we will go from 5 to 1. At number 5, I have the Chargers. I'm not really a huge fan of Brandon Staley and what he does, but the talent is all there. It seems that they're getting the offense together with the induction of Kellen Moore to being the offensive coordinator. Justin Herbert, kind of trying to really find his way now after getting paid. Him being paid to be the solution, not just a good guy, but to solve some of the problems that they have and whatnot. Be the quarterback, as they say on First Things First. Coach Eric Mangini, a force multiplier. That's essentially what he's being paid to be now. The defense, I wouldn't say shaky, but they had a good showing in the last game with Khalil Mack getting 6 sacks in the game. So if they can finally tune in, because they have the talent, on the defensive side of the ball. They have the talent on the offensive side of the ball. If they can finally just gel it all together, they should be a legit team going forward. My number 4 team, I have the Dolphins. 70-point game. We saw what they did, but then they came out the next week and showed that they can be stopped when they played against the Bills, who kind of had their number last year as well. Kind of screwed when they played them. I forgot exactly what week it was during the season, but kind of messed up the timing and everything, and that's kind of what they did in this game as well. Kind of got Tua out of rhythm and whatnot, and if you can get them out of rhythm on the throws, then you can kind of put a chink in their offense. Their defense isn't all that great. With Vic Fangio, the addition of Vic Fangio as DC, you kind of hope that would help get their defense together more, you know what I mean? Be closer to a top 5 defense. They haven't really shown that yet, but I feel, give it a bit more time. I'm a believer in Vic Fangio, not as a head coach, but a defensive coordinator, just because I saw what he did in Chicago when he had pieces and whatnot. So that's why I am on the Dolphins. Number 3, I have the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is looking pretty good in this new offense. Each week he seems to be improving. The defense is normally very good in Baltimore. It seems like they're rounding out, getting things, under control. They're suffering a lot of injuries, so to be able to say that they're 3-1, and going through the injuries and whatnot that they've had, that's pretty respectable. Pretty impressive, I should say, not respectable, pretty impressive. As well as putting, the real question was Lamar Jackson being in this new offense, more pass-friendly offense, and how he would look in that, because, there have been question marks about his passing, but he's been looking good, progressing week to week. I feel like they're going to be, because he still has his legs, he'll still run, so they're going to be a force going forward throughout the season as long as he's healthy. At number 2, I have the Chiefs. Listen, as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, I believe they're going to be going to the Super Bowl. They're going to win the Super Bowl. But it's just after they played the Jets, they started off dominating, then they kind of took their foot off the gas and then could never really get things going. And then Patrick ended up having 2 interceptions, almost 3. He didn't look that great. And he was outplayed by Zach Wilson. So I don't really have questions about Mahomes and whatnot. You know what I mean? We know who he is, 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. We know what he is. We know what he can do. But just I like to see him be a bit more cleaner, and I kind of want to see a bit more from the receivers. We know who he is. We know what Travis Kelce will do. The running game with Isaiah Pacheco, he looks pretty good as well. The defense is very, very solid. A top 10 so far. I'm not exactly sure where they're ranked, but I know they're in the top 10. They've looked very good so far this season. So it's really just about getting the chemistry more down with Tony and Scott Moore and those guys and Valdez Scantling. So, you know, they're all good when it comes to playoff time. And Mahomes knows he can trust the guys to do what they got to do. And then at number 1, if you watch First Things First, it's kind of funny. This whole, what I'm about to say, my number 1 team is the Bills. And the whole banner drop for the best September team again. But they were. I mean, they put it all together. Josh Allen had the stinker to start the season against the Jets. And then ever since then, he's just been kind of a roller coaster a bit. But I wouldn't say like super, super bad drops in the roller coaster. You know what I mean? So it was just that loss there. And then they've done what they've needed to do. Since then, he's looked great. This past, I forgot exactly who they played this past. Was it the Dolphins? I want to say it was the Dolphins. Yeah, he looked. Was it the Dolphins? Let me look at that real quick. I think it was the Dolphins. If I'm not mistaken. That's who they just played. But he's looked great with 48-20. I was right. The Dolphins. He's looked great with what he's been doing. He only had, I think, like 4 incompletions and 5 touchdowns or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, in that game. So it's just really about Josh Allen making sure he, 4 touchdowns and 4 touchdowns and 4 incompletions. So it's really just about him trying to stay at that level. I don't think the whole 4 touchdown thing is gonna be like every week, but 2 or 3 touchdowns and then use your legs. Make sure you don't make any mistakes in the turnover game. Interceptions, fumbles, and all that. And their run game has looked very solid. So that's who I have as number 1 so far in the AFC. Now we can move on to the NFC, and the top 5 I have for them at number 5. Pains me to say this as a Bears fan, but at number 5 I have the Lions. They've just been very solid all around. Gave it to the Chiefs, gave them everything they wanted, pulled that game out. Lost to the Seahawks, and I'm pretty sure after that point, they haven't lost. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I didn't write the records down. I probably should have done that next to the teams. But they've just been playing really well. Their defense is improved over last season, with pieces and stuff that they've added. Another year in the system. But they've improved defensively. The offense is just, man. Listen, you heard what I said as a Bears fan in the past special I did, the last special. And how I want Ben Johnson potentially to be our new head coach for the Bears next season, because what he's done with that offense, what he's made Jared Goff look like, it's just been like, it's been great. So imagine putting him, if he's made Jared Goff look that good in the offensive system, imagine what he can do with Justin Fields, who has, I'd say, he's a more talented player, but he just hasn't put it all together yet, just because he has the whole leg factor, the running factor included into his game and whatnot. So imagine what he could do for Justin Fields and building an offense around him. But the Lions have looked great. What Dan Campbell has done, rebuilding that culture and everything in Detroit, man. Listen, as a Bears fan, hats off to them. They're doing it the right way, man. So that's what I have as number 5. Number 4, moving up, is Seattle, the team who did beat the Lions. Listen, I just like everything that they have done. They're building on last year and how good of a season that they had last year with absolutely nobody expected Geno Smith taking them to the playoffs. He never wrote back. He's still in writing back. He's still playing very well. Their defense, I forgot their first round pick's name. I want to say Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois, who, if I'm not mistaken, Reef he picked for defensive rookie of the year, and he is balling out. He's jumped to the number 1. He's jumped to the favorite after this past game with a 90-something yard pick six that he had on Danny Dimes this past what was it, Monday night, I believe. So yeah, they have pieces. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's a cornerback. He's a cornerback for Tariq Woolen. Love him. He's listen, from him as a rookie last year and making the top 100, he's still balling out this year. So you had young guys and they're just learning and improving and whatnot on the defense. You still have Geno, you still have DK Metcalf, you still have Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker. You added Jackson Smith in Jigba, but he hasn't figured it all out yet. So I kind of figure he'll kind of figure things out as time goes along during the season and whatnot. So I'm not really ruling out what he's done so far, but we'll see what he can do as the season goes along. But that's who I have as number 4. They have everything: offense, defense, special teams. Great team. Moving up to number 3, I have the Cowboys. Listen, you can argue the top 3 are interchangeable in the NFC, really. But just because the only question I kind of have is when they had that stinker against the Arizona Cardinals. Other than that, the stinker against the Cardinals, and they have problems trying to score touchdowns in the red zone. They've been kind of settling for field goals and whatnot. So that's really the only concern, the only question that I have for the Cowboys is, can you produce really in the red zone? And was the Cardinals game more of an aberration, or could they kind of have slip-ups like that throughout the season? So I expect this upcoming Sunday is going to be a very, very, very good game. It's probably my most anticipated game for this upcoming weekend, just because I feel like this could potentially be another playoff matchup because they faced each other in the past two playoff runs, with the 49ers winning in both of them. But the Cowboys defense, man, like just Micah Parsons, he's my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. Their defense, and I have them on fantasy, so I've seen what they've done point-wise and whatnot. They've just been truly, truly dominant. The only real question is the offense and scoring points in the red zone. Moving up to number 2, like I said, it's all interchangeable. My number 2 team is going to be the Eagles. The only reason I can really say that because their games, they're undefeated right now, but their games haven't all really been, pretty. They've kind of been, like ugly, fight it out type. We have to find a way to win type games, which is good to have, I'd say, in the season, because it just shows that if adversity hits at any point during, later on or whatnot, when we come to the playoffs, we know that we have in the tank games where we've had to like get down and get dirty and get ugly to find a way to win the game. So we know we can do that, as opposed to teams like the Cowboys. You know what I mean? When they win so far this season, they've been dominant. Like they've been blowing teams out. The only adversity they faced was the game against the Cardinals, and that's the game that they ended up losing. So that's that. You kind of get what I'm saying about adversity and finding a way to win and all that. So that's kind of why I have the Cowboys lower, just because they've won in dominating fashion. They haven't really had to face any struggles or anything like the Eagles have in the Patriots game and in the Vikings game as well. They had to face a bit of adversity. So we know that they have that Jalen Hurts as a leader. Great. So Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelce, let me not leave him out as well. So that locker room, they're gonna be straight. They have their heads on straight, know what they need to do. They're still talking about, we're not playing our best football, but you don't want to be playing your best football. I agree to that to a degree. You want to be playing really well, but you don't want to be playing your best. You want to have your best football, obviously, in the playoffs and whatnot. That's when or leading into the playoffs, to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. That's really when you want to be playing at your peak, you know what I mean, rolling on all cylinders. That's why I said it's okay. It's kind of good that they've had to fight ugly early on, as long as it's not later on in the season, you know what I mean? Because if it's still later on in the season and they're still having a fight, that means they really haven't figured out what they want to do with offense and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I have the Eagles at number 2. And the number 1 team, I know you all pretty much kind of knew what this team was going to be for the NFC, and that is the 49ers. Just purely dominant. Offensively and defensively, no real weaknesses at all. The only weakness you can kind of say, if you want to pick anything, would just be Brock Purdy. And I know he's, undefeated in the regular season, I believe, or undefeated when he finishes a game, as Wilds would say on First Thing First. He's never lost when he doesn't have to have surgery or whatnot on his elbow after the game. I'm kind of on the Nick Wright side about it, just that I don't feel like he's faced any adversity really. And it comes to what Broussard did say about him being thrown in and kind of being Mr. Irrelevant and this team having playoff aspirations. But I feel like that goes to the opposite. Like, because he was Mr. Irrelevant, even though they do have playoff aspirations, they're not gonna blame him if you know what I mean, if he doesn't do well, because he was the last pick of the draft. He's kind of like, go out there, we're gonna put you in the right position and just kind of just play free, and that's really what he's been doing. I don't feel like he's faced adversity on the field really, because they've really just been dominant. You know what I mean? So they've just been great since adding Christian McCaffrey to that offense. We know Kyle Shanahan knows how to dial it up and get guys open. I mean, kind of to Nick's point, they are kind of, the receivers are kind of running wide open. He hasn't really had to make, tight window throws or anything like that. We haven't seen it, but I'm not going to disrespect what he's done. You know what I mean? He's won. I mean, you just, it's just as simple as that. He's won, I don't necessarily think he's been the difference maker, because they were winning with Jimmy G, and they made it to the conference finals and Super Bowl with Jimmy G as well, and all that kind of stuff. And that's even before adding Christian McCaffrey to the offense, and now adding Christian McCaffrey to the offense, and he scored a touchdown in 13 or 14 straight games, breaking Jerry Rice's record. Like, come on now. But we already knew what CMC was on a bad team with the Panthers, so you could only imagine what he was going to be with the 49ers with the offensive scheme like Kyle Shanahan's, and it's only been proven right. The only thing about that trade was, could he stay healthy? And he so far has been, and he's been dominant. So between the Bills and the 49ers, who would you have, or who would I have as who would you have as the number one team? Let me know in the comments. Or who do you have as the number one team in the league? But for me, I'd have the Bills, not the Bills, I'd have the 49ers over the Bills. I know Josh Allen is a more dominant quarterback, but just that kind of roller coaster of I feel like he's more prone to make a mistake than Brock Purdy's more prone to make a mistake. That's just my feelings on it. So that's where I'd leave it at that. That's my top 5 for the AFC, top 5 for the NFC, and we can get into this game tonight, actually, the night of recording and the night of this video going up, because what time is it's 3, so the game will be out in a couple of hours. I'm going to try and have the pod up about an hour, maybe 2 hours. As soon as I can honestly get it out before the game, I'm going to try and have it out. So it'll be out, maybe I'd say, since it's 3, maybe I'd say about 5-ish, just because it has to edit, process, and all that kind of stuff. So the game for tonight, Bears versus Commanders. I hope the Bears lose. I hope the Bears lose, but I hope Fields plays well. That's honestly how I feel about the rest of the season. I honestly just want Fields to ball out, but I could care less if we win a single game. At this point, I want a regime change. You all heard how I kind of felt about the Bears and everything in that last really Bears-specific video after they did blow that 21-point lead to the Broncos last week. So at this point, I'm kind of just like, I just want them to lose all their games. The Commanders are a better team, honestly, and obviously, than the Bears have been. If you have kind of questions about their offense, for sure their defense has been dominant. That front four that they have is just like, bruh, they're special. You know what I mean? They have that talent up in the front, and the Bears do not have an offensive line truly. So that pass rush is going to be getting home. So if the Bears don't design like quick play, hopefully it's not the screen game again. God, I'm just kind of still scarred in the screen game about the Tampa Bay game. So yeah, that is what it is. But we're gonna have to have kind of quick passes and everything like that, a quick game, and trying to get Fields out and on the move to try and nullify that pass rush, because that's really the strength of what the Commanders do well, that front four. They do have I'd say solid offense, not great, but solid after Eric Bieniemy has come in and kind of helped Sam Howell, and you have some solid receivers out there as well. Two pretty decent running backs in what is it, Robinson and Gibson. I don't really know if Gibson plays that much anymore, to be honest with you. I haven't really watched Commanders games, but you have Robinson and Gibson in the backfield. I don't really know the rating of their offensive line or their obviously their secondary. That's really why I didn't talk about it too much. Or their linebackers. I just really know they have a truly strong defensive front. So and that's one of the Bears' many weaknesses. So honestly, I really just think after blowing a 21-point lead, what would lead you to believe that the Bears would win anything? They had the 20.1 lead on a team that lost by 50-something points, a team that they put up 70-something on them. So why would I have any feelings or reasons to believe that the Bears will win? So I really have Washington pulling this one out. I do not know the score, do not care to score. To be honest with you, I just know Washington is going to win. I guess it would be nice just for us Bears fans to hey, we have a win. But at this point, no, because I feel, and the rumors have been, if the Bears lose this week, Eberflus is gone, which I think would help a lot for the culture, just to get that stink out the room of we've lost. At that point, would it be 15 or 16 straight games, 14 to 16 straight games, something like that, dating back to last October. So almost a full calendar year since we've actually felt what it's like to win as Bears fans. You know what I mean? Just a single game, a regular season game, not even talking about playoff success. We're just talking about the regular season. It's just been bad, man. Truly been bad for us. But yeah, that's what I feel about the game. A little bit more, I can get into a little bit more about how I feel about just Bears in general, because being a Bears fan and whatnot. So I do want them to lose. I do want this Eberflus gone. Not exactly who we will promote to being the new head coach, but I'd be fine with it either way, just to get that, like I said, the stink of Eberflus and losing all those games. Just get it out of the building, because it's toxic at this point. We don't need it. You saw how defeated Fields looked after last week and blowing the lead and everything. He's a defensive head coach. His specialty is defense, and the defense is shit. So you're not doing your job. How did you really sell polls on it and everything? And just gotta go at this point. Just the worst head coach that we've had as far as winning and everything is concerned. This has been worse. Believe it or not, Bears fans, this has been worse than the Mark Trestman era, which I watched, was a part of. It's just been terrible, man. So the sooner we can get rid of him, the better. Like I've said, Ben Johnson is really my number one pick on who I'd want to have an offensive coordinator. Whether we keep Justin Fields, provided he shows not exactly what he did in the Denver game, because that was almost on a historic pace, because was it the most completions or something like that. Before incompletion, that was what was he, 15 to 15 before throwing the incompletion but it was a Hail Mary attempt, you know what I mean? So that's the only reason that ended up getting broken up, and it wouldn't have really got broken up until later on in the game when he finally actually missed a legit pass, not a Hail Mary pass. So if he shows more improvement, the real question would be, do we keep him and leverage the 1 and 2 picks to truly build out around him? Or do we use the number 1 pick on Caleb and trade Fields and then see what you do? Do you leverage the number 2 pick into more talent for Caleb, or do you what do you do with that, or do you just use that to draft a player at number 2? We've seen that so far. We have the 1 pick and the 2 pick because the Bears and Carolina are both defeated, haven't won anything, both 0-4, and we have their pick because of the trade for number 1 and Bryce Young, obviously last year. So questions, that's really where we are in this season as Bear fans. Playoffs, all that kind of stuff is out the window. It's really just about the development of Fields. How does Fields look at the end of the season, and what do we decide to do with him and those top 2, or wherever it ends up at the end of the season, top 2 to top 5 picks that we have. So Yeah, man. Already done on the season. Looking forward to the next season for Bears fans. But as an NFL fan, I'm still enjoying games and enjoying the season. So as long as you love football, even being a Bears fan, there's never a dull moment in the NFL season. So you'll be okay, man. Thank you all for watching. We're gonna go ahead and end it here. I said it was gonna be a quick one, but kind of getting into descriptions or whatnot. I just didn't want to read off a list. I kind of wanted to give you all reasoning why. My reasoning and why process of why I had every team ranked while they are there, and then obviously got a little bit into it because a little more into the preview just because it's a Bears game. Being a true diehard Bears fan. Pain, I know, yeah, but being a true diehard Bears fan, I have a little bit more analysis and whatnot to say and everything, just because I'm truly locked in. Even though they suck, I'm truly locked into them and what they're doing every single week. So that's gonna be it. I appreciate everybody for making it this far because that means you all have watched or you just let it run from the beginning to this point. Either way, doesn't matter. It truly helps us on the channel. Really means a lot if you've done it either way. Like we say, you don't have to watch it, but if you just let it run and give it a like, it really means a lot. It really helps out the channel. But if you do like it and want to interact and give us your thoughts and everything in the comments, that's even better because like me and 12 say, we're trying to build a community of from anime to sports, all that kind of stuff. So just a place where we can all talk and it's open to free to share your opinions about stuff without truly being judged, because you've seen on the pod that everybody doesn't think the same way. Everybody has different opinions on different teams, different players, different everything. Not everybody shares the same mindset, and that's okay as long as you're respectful about how you disagree with somebody. As long as you're respectful about it, we're all good with that. That's the type of community that we want to have and build, where you if you don't agree with someone, it's okay to like, hey, this is the reason why, this is my opinion on why, and it may help somebody else think a different way or open somebody else up to a different line of thinking. So it's all about conversation and having a dialogue. So like we say, thank you all for watching. I know I've kind of gone a little long-winded with the ending and everything, but I just we're really building it up. We're up to 240 subs, almost at 250 before we go to New York. It's just a journey, man, and we appreciate you all for joining us on this journey. So if you did like the video, make sure you go ahead and like. You want to subscribe, see more from the 1216 podcast or Sports Saga with the EndZone gang and Lethal Hits, which is football and UFC, or just anime from the 1216 podcast, trailer reviews, chapter reviews. One just came out today, so if you want to check that out for One Piece, you can check that out. 12 just dropped that. So we just really working to try and build the community, man. So make sure you subscribe if you want to be a part of it. You want to see what we're building, and if you want to get notified every time we drop something new, hit that notification bell. You'll get notified anytime we drop something anime related, sports related, whatever it is that we're doing. You'll get a notification about the video, and you can go ahead and check it out as soon as it comes out. So like I said, thank you all so much again, and I will see y'all in the next one.